We are live now, Abhijit. Very good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing, Jagan?
I'm doing great. Abhijit, thanks a lot for taking my invitation to join in this particular unlearning and relearning uh, in COVID times. That's the series of webinars that I'm actually, not really webinars, FB lives that I'm actually doing. I don't want to use the webinar term because already webinar is like webinar by death now. That's the term.
Yeah.
So this is not a webinar. This is only a conversation.
Right, absolutely, and I'm very proud and honored to be here with you, Jagan.
So, Abhijit, I want to introduce you. I mean, people have seen some of my lives. So, I'm Jagan Mantha. You can look me up. Will Skill Chill Clues for Overcoming Transition Blues is the first book that I have written. It got published. It is available on all Amazon Kindle sites. So, one of the things that actually I got Abhijit here for is Abhijit and I connect for at least more than 10 years. A very good friend and someone whom I hold in a very high esteem for his effectiveness with which he does learning facilitation. Actually, a seasoned learning facilitator is what I would like to call him as. Abhijit.
Thank you, Jagan. I try my best.
Abhijit, I want to share a little story. Maybe I don't know whether you remember this or not. I think it was nearly 10 years ago or 9 years ago. Both of us were traveling from, at the time, Hyderabad to Bangalore. I think it was an Air India flight. We were sitting next to each other, and this one of the steward who was passing by, he stopped in his tracks, and literally his face lit up like a floodlight. Sir, you are Abhijit Bhattacharya, sir. How please? I mean, I still remember that. Okay.
Now, I also remember that. That was because I had done Air India. Air India used to be called Indian Airlines at that time. And in Hyderabad, in Firozgura in Hyderabad, they have a training center, and I have done probably 35 batches.
Oh wow!
Communication training there.
Oh, fantastic!
This was, I think, between 1999 to 2004.
Wow!
So some of those guys are still in service, and I do bump into them sometimes.
Okay,
and
great.
It feels great when they recognize you.
Okay. So I'm just doing a sanity check. Okay, looks like we are live. So there are 6 people already watching us. I just wanted to do a sanity check.
Sure.
Abhijit, I want to get a little bit of like importance of storytelling and all that we talk about with respect to learning facilitation. But today, I'm actually trying to go behind the story of the storyteller. That is you. So.
Okay.
I would like to see. I sincerely believe that each one of us are scripting our own story, isn't it? When we are actually moving through the twists and turns of life, we are actually literally scripting our own story.
Yes, of course. Every life is a story. I agree with you.
True. So at the same time, it's not all like hunky dory, right?
Not at all.
So I want to first and foremost get a proper introduction from you, Abhijit, if we may, so that people get to know you a bit, and then take it up from there.
All right, sure. So as you have rightly said, I am a learning facilitator, and now I work independently. I've been on my own since 2016, so it's been 4 years. After working for 25 years of full-time service with different organizations, including Wipro, where we bumped into each other and we became great friends for life, I would say. I thought I had had enough of full-time occupation, and I moved out in 2016 to be on my own. And it's been exciting. Of course, there are those fears. Of course, there are those chills. And I keep on telling Jagan that life is a roller coaster. So when you're going up, it feels great. But when you're coming down, it's scary.
True.
But then that's the scary part. But then the roller coaster goes up again. What comes down goes up again. And if we can just hold on, if we can just hold on for that little time and let in the natural circumstances, things move up again,
Right.
life is hunky-dory once again. So the good and bad both are part of life. I think all of us have had shares of good and bad. I've also had my share of good and bad in my life.
We
I
will
would
get
say
to that.
good is much, much more than the bad. And
Yeah.
I know for sure that bad times also don't last. So you
Sure.
just have to hold on. I hope and I wish Sushant Singh Rajput had held on a little more in his life as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Sometimes it becomes very easy to, sit and like talk about somebody else's life, but then, so right now, see, whatever we tend to overcome already, that seems like, a story to tell to others actually, and even feel good about it actually. But at the same time, when really you're in the grind, life is not easy, right?
No,
Let's,
it's
let's
not.
so life is absolutely not easy. So it has been my endeavor to write. You know that I'm a reflective writer kind of stuff, right?
Yes, yes.
My own transition story. I cannot say it is one of the hardest stories or whatever, but 20 years of change and transition stories in my own ways. Just that there is no comparison with one or the other. It's just that I wrote it in a way the other person can actually get connected to their own genuine challenges that they're dealing with, and try to figure out. I mean, how I mean, just get a sense of hope as well as inspiration actually. And uh, how much did you skim my book actually? Did you?
I did. I think I've gone through it. Over the last 6 months, I've struggled with my eyesight a little bit. So reading is
I know
not very easy.
that.
So
Right.
I think I'm halfway through your book.
Okay. So how has been your experience so far?
Oh, it's pretty good. I think the examples, and you have of course taken your examples from various different spectrum, and I think that's what makes it interesting.
Right. So yeah, great. So let's now come back to whatever is the theme of the session, which is like unlearning and relearning. And I want to hear the perspective of how difficult this beast of unlearning and relearning from a very effective learning facilitator. So, what is your take on it?
Yeah, completely. It's not easy, as I said before, Jagan, but then it is not so difficult also because it is all about overcoming your own fears, which are there in your own head.
Right.
I'll tell you, I have gone through some severe physical difficulties. I'm a
Absolutely.
right-hander, I'm a right-hander, and I lost 80% effectivity of my last right hand 30 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's a COVID moment. That's real COVID moment. Can we? So
I, I
the spin I'm using on the COVID, not the pandemic, but then coping through very intense difficulty. That's the spin I'm using there. So can we
yes,
talk more about your first? Probably is that the one of your very big COVID moments, Abhijit?
yes, it is. I think it's one of the biggest in my life when I lost 80% workability of my right hand.
Oh
And I,
goodness.
being a right-hander, it was life-changing. I can't tell you. And I tell you, I was just what, 21, 22 at the time, Jagan? And I thought that was the end of the world for me. I
What
really thought
happened?
like that.
What
Yes,
happened?
I had a freak accident, and it was a freak accident, and it should have got healed if we had got the right doctor at the right time. But then, as Providence, I think we got to a wrong doctor, and he performed a wrong surgery, and then the hand got infected very, very badly.
Oh
So,
no.
and for 2 years, it took 7, 8 surgeries to get the infection under control. Forget about the hand
Functionality.
becoming all right, functional and all of that.
Right.
Also in the process, what happened?
How much time it took? 2 years to
two
this.
years, 2 years, a little more than 2 years. And
Goodness.
on top of that, there is a nerve on your hand, which is called the
Okay.
radial nerve. And this radial nerve controls the movement
Somewhere here.
of your fingers, your wrist. So that nerve is not there. So by mistake, they cut that nerve in my right hand. So I
Radio
have no
Allah,
movement.
the radio
Yeah.
Allah. That's
No,
this.
radius in Allah is here.
Oh, okay.
I broke what is called the humerus.
Okay.
So it was threatening, and I thought that was curtains for my life. Because I, being a right-hander, I could not write. I couldn't do anything with my right hand. So I thought it was curtains. But then, sometimes when everything is dark, there is a faint light that shines. And that faint light in my life came from an absolute unknown source. And I suddenly encountered somebody who was probably a little more depressed with his life. So what happened? I started preaching that person, and when I started preaching, I realized what was I doing with my own life?
So actually, preaching is a very good thing. You want to hear my pun on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it can ultimately reach you.
Sure. Yes, it did, and that's
So
exactly
it may take a
what
long
happened.
route. It may take a long route. For me, it happens all the time. I'm a preacher, but it eventually reaches me.
Sure. Absolutely, Jagan. So here, suddenly, who was a civil service aspirant, who was trying hard, studying hard to get in the IAS, suddenly went on and joined a sales career.
Oh God!
So
Wow.
and that's how I started. And today, looking back, I have no regrets, Jagan, because I think that's what I was meant for, and I thank God for giving me that a chance to revel and learn from those difficult circumstances in my life.
Wow. So that's how the sales career of selling the Sterling holiday packages started. Actually, is that what it is? Right?
That's
And
right. That's right. I actually
Sterling.
landed with 3 jobs. In
Uh-huh.
my search of 1.5 months, I had 3 jobs. One
Right.
was Sterling Resort, the other was a company called Rajdoot Paints, and there used
Okay.
to be at that time a microfinance company called JVG.
Okay.
I got 3 jobs. Out of the three, I selected this one,
Problem
Sterling
of
Resort.
plenty. Problem of plenty.
Don't forget, this was 30 years ago,
Yeah. Great. Fantastic.
29 to be precise.
Right. Right. 29 years ago is also the time when I started my career, Abhijit. But I'm a
Okay.
more geeky guy. Started with coding. Talk to only
Yeah.
computers, not to people. That's what I say. But
Yeah,
anyway.
since you are coding and all that computer techie, what is that coming in on the right hand top corner of the screen? It says something
Okay.
live to point. Yeah, what's that?
Life
Yes,
buoyant, a way of being. Actually, that's my website called www.lifebuoyant.com. So
I see.
there is a small story about it. See, satellite TV, when it came to my township, I was brought up in Odisha, JK township. So it was somewhere in '85, I think. So there used to be an ad. I'll just sing the ad, jingle of the ad. तंदुरुस्ती की रक्षा करता है
Life boy.
लाइफ बॉय, करेक्ट, लाइफ बॉय बदन की लाइक धूल में छुपे हुए कीटाणु को धो डालता है, राइट? दैट्स व्हाट इट सेज.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it used to say.
I used to say, I don't know whether. So life. See, I'm a person who like used to watch this Dream Merchants a lot actually. So I like Padmasi and all that. So I never ever gotten into marketing or sales, but I always had a sense of like catchy lines. That's how I talk in whatever colorful language I tend to talk actually. Yeah.
Sure.
So maybe it has like had a slow effect on me. So many years later, it occurred to me, Lifebuoy is such a great ad with great line, but it's all about tan ki tandurusti. मन की तंदुरुस्ती का क्या करें?
Yeah, very good one.
तन की तंदुरुस्ती, बट मन की तंदुरुस्ती का क्या करें? बट मन की तंदुरुस्ती के लिए will skill chill. You need to keep fine tuning those three elements is what I have been able to get it all together after 35 years of first seeing the Lifebuoy actually.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I think at the end of the day, that is what matters, right, Jagan? Because
Right.
tan ki tandurusti is good, but if the man is tandurust, then lots can be achieved and lots can be overcome in life.
Absolutely. So मन की तंदुरुस्ती का ही लाइफ पॉइंट का commitment है, whole commitment. So
Okay.
anyway, thanks for asking me that question. So Abhijit, let's get back to how come you got into training from sales. Actually, that would be an interesting tidbit to hear.
That I would say was my second transition. And I spent about 5 years in sales. And I was quite successful. I mean, from a sales executive, I became a senior sales executive. I quickly became a territory manager. Then I became an area manager. Within 4 or 5 years, I was kind of rising the ranks.
Wow.
And what happened? I was so lucky, Jagan. I tell you, I'm a very lucky person that I've always encountered great people in my life and who have taught me a lot of things. And some of the trainers who I encountered at that time were people like Johnny Joseph, Mark Pillai, Kevin Pereira, Vikramaditya Chaudhary. They were fantastic. And I tell you, I was so inspired by them that somewhere in the middle of in my mind, I had that urge. And suddenly, way back, I think this was 96, I met somebody in Delhi, and the person told me, when I asked him, what is your profession? He said, I'm in training, I'm a trainer. I immediately said, hey, that's something which I like to do. So he said, oh, are you sure? I said, yeah. He said, would you like to come and work with us?
Okay.
And I said, you sure? He said, hey, why don't you come and talk to my business partner as well? She's a very senior lady, and maybe. So next day I was there sitting and talking to Mrs. Nina Kocher, who was one of the first persons in corporate India to set up training. In 1966, Jagan, I wasn't born at that time. She was instrumental in starting the Oberoi School of Learning and Development. And I met her, and after a conversation with her, she told me, I don't know what she saw in me. She told me, I think you will do very well. Come and join. And I was.
This year is when you are getting into training. What was the year once again?
97. I think it was 97. Yes.
97. Okay.
So about 23, 24 years ago. And she said, I think you will do well. Why don't you come and start working with us? And as they say, the rest is history.
Fantastic. So you probably got inspired. What I can hear from you is that you got inspired by one of the very best in the training industry, because although all those names, all the good money.
Yeah, I named Johnny Joseph, who went on to become the head of training at IBM. And he led
Johnny Joseph.
IBM.
I think Johnny Joseph, probably that name is familiar. Maybe I'm a rank outsider as far as training industry is concerned, because I'm somebody who got into training just within the Wipro system of things. Actually, having done various stuff, I mean, my training was more of happenstance, maybe.
Oh, that's fine, but that's all right. Johnny, of course, is a very well-known name, and Mrs. Nina Kocher is also one of the oldest names in training in the country. And I was fortunate to have learned a few things from them. So,
fantastic.
But another thing, as you said, the man ki tandurusti that you were talking about, I think that helped, because every moment I think I was a good learner. I think that kept me going, and I kept on learning. I tell you, anywhere, any source it came from, I just lapped it up. I think I became a blotting paper, and I would absorb everything that would come my way, Jagan. And I didn't feel ashamed at all to go ahead and learn, even from a youngster. Even today, I don't feel that shame at all. If I don't know, I'll put up my hand and say, hey, I don't know. Can you please tell me? I think that if you do, then unlearning and relearning does not become too much of a challenge. I think that's the most important thing.
I think openness. You should actually have a bit of a rookie mindset. In the sense, to learn from a rookie, to even learn from a rookie, can it be called as a rookie mindset, or at least openness to learn.
I was associated with Crestcom also, and in Crestcom we had a speaker. His name was Andy Bounds. He's a British author.
Andy Bounds is the name that BNA raves about.
So Andy says, school is never out for a pro.
School is never out. Okay.
So if you are a professional, you better keep learning.
It's a cool thing to say.
Otherwise, you're going to be irrelevant in this world.
Yeah. So, cool thing in the sense, it's a very cool thing, not to say, but to live by. So, actually, I just want to share a little bit from my mentor. That is my father, who stays with me all the time. Whenever I attended a training program, I attended a lot in Wipro. Wipro is a great organization that invested in a lot of trainings. So,
I know.
my father always asked, is it only training or there was some training also? So he always plays with words. That's what rubbed on me, right? So always he used to ask, today I attended for a training, is it only training or there was some training also? I mean, he used to say that. So at least
Yeah, but training can be straining at many times. I know.
true. But then willingness to go through that, if you are picking up nuggets. So unlearning, but see, having facilitated, for a great many number of people, I think you must have trained probably thousands of people. Do you have any sense of how many thousands have you touched?
I would have done close to 45,000 people, Jagan.
Oh wow, fantastic, Abhijit. So can you see what is the biggest stumbling block for most people when it comes to learning? Actually,
I think number one is the mindset where we think many of us, especially as we grow older in life, Jagan, there comes a feeling that I know all. Hey, I've been there, I've done that.
yeah,
Yes,
okay.
we could have been there, we could have done that. But what is important for all of us to understand is that there is so much of dynamism around. There's things are changing so fast. Look at the current situation. I have not been to a classroom for the last more than 3 months now. Jagan? I've not
Correct.
seen the inside of a classroom after February. So
True.
March, April, May, we are in June now. It's more than 100 days I've not seen a classroom.
But you
So
have attended.
obviously the situation changed. Now, if I'm not going to learn online facilitation,
True.
I'm going to stay behind.
True.
So I
You have done
better
that.
learn.
I mean, of course, we have done online facilitation back in Wipro days, but I think you could actually relaunch that aspect of it. I mean,
That's what I'm doing. And I'm telling you, over the last 2 months, starting mid-April to now mid-June, in this 60 days, I have run more than 50 sessions online.
oh wow,
More than 50 sessions. I'm averaging a session a day. Some days I've done
Fan-
2 sessions also. All right.
fantastic.
And I'm telling you, I have used platforms like Microsoft Team. I've used Zoom. I've used Zoho Showtime. I have used GoToMeeting. You name it. Cisco WebEx, of course. And, as a result, what is happening? I'm relearning again.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've not sat back on my haunches and said, hey, this will pass. It may pass. But
True.
right now, it is not passing. And I don't see that I will get back to the classroom in the next 3-4 months. So how am I going to make a living? Of course, I have to learn. I have to learn online facilitation. So you would not imagine, Jagan, I think I have seen at least 10, 15 videos on YouTube, which is teaching how to do online facilitation. And I brought that to my sessions. And every session I'm doing, I'm seeking feedback from my participants who are telling me what else I could do. So the
Beautiful.
learning journey goes on. And,
Fantastic.
and that's the best way to move ahead in life. There's no other way. I don't know
Fantastic.
of any other way, really.
Fantastic, Abhijit. You are actually pushing your bounds or pushing your boundaries for online facilitation. I know we have done some of it in Wipro days. I know maybe that was not again very popular until it was happening off and on maybe. But when classroom based sessions actually maybe they may be available at a greater price point and all that, but in a COVID moment like this, you got to relook at it, right? Yeah, relook at whatever you need to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Jagan, what I'm saying, after 2.5 decades of training and 3 decades of work experience, if I sit back and today say I know it all and I
Right.
don't need to learn anything new, then I
Sure.
will stay where I am. No?
Sure.
And I'm telling you, I don't think many people have done 50 sessions. Of course, I was lucky. I was lucky in the sense that it came to me through some networking that I have, and gave me an opportunity. And I'm telling you right now, as I speak, tomorrow I'm running one session on Zoom. Saturday I'm running one session on Cisco WebEx again, and that's for a
True.
group of people in Hyderabad, by the way, that I'm doing on
Great.
Saturday. So
Fantastic.
those again are again platforms for me to keep learning.
Great. Great.
I
So,
don't think there is any other way, Jagan. If I can add one more thing, I think one is learning, and second, once you told me that you're going to have this discussion around these areas, I was thinking, what else? And I said, your faith in yourself and your faith in God. I
okay.
think my faith in God really takes me a long, long way. And whenever I'm on the other side of a roller coaster coming down, I've always found a lot of strength in prayers, and
Wow.
that keeps me going, Jagan.
Great. Great. Yeah. Sure. Whichever like whichever floats your boat. Actually, whichever mechanism
Yeah,
floats your boat. Absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely. My prayer gives me confidence. It gives me conviction, and
Yeah.
I feel this is a strong belief and faith that I have that God is there, and He will carve out a path for me. And it has always worked like that till my. I have lost eyesight twice in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember. I want to share. I want to share. Maybe can I?
Yes,
Maybe
go ahead.
2 years ago, when actually the first time when it happened, at that time you said like your wife said, "I'm there.
Yes,
Why are you worried?" Something like that. That was because it was
yes. In
you.
fact, let me tell you, Jagan, that's an example which I used in a Spirit of Wipro workshop, which I did in Noida.
Mhm.
And I remember there was a young girl who was sitting on the front bench. That girl wept when I told
Hmm.
that story. And it's a true story. My wife told me I had lost eyesight in one of my eye. And my wife told me, why are you worrying? I still have two eyes. You and my one eye, if I give to you, still life will go on for both of us.
Wow.
I'll
That's
never forget that in my life. So, what I'm saying, if you are ready to learn, if you have faith in your own abilities, and if you have faith in God, whoever you trust, I mean, that's up to you, difficult times also go away.
faith will move mountains. Actually, isn't it?
Oh, yes, of course, yes.
Absolutely.
No
So
question about it.
Abhijit, it is my intention to uncover, inspiring stories because we all say that okay, storytelling is so important. At the same time, getting people, of course, with whom I hold an affiliation because I care so much about transition and I understand. I mean, I wasn't. Like my own starting point might have been low. I had to learn a lot of things hard way. I remember some of the conversations that we had. Your content is great. You're not the trainer material. We had that conversation, right?
Yep.
So I just want to share. I'm not trying to do training, but then I'm doing some nuggets actually right now. They're on my YouTube, and my core strength is dual language because life buoyant. You man ki tandrusti, tan ki tandrusti. You see the play that I bring. So
Absolutely.
my nuggets actually, which I just did the third nugget today, but my nuggets are the Hindi come English nuggets are called doodh ke doodh, pani ki pani. So they are actually reminders. So they're not like they're about 5 minute length actually. Each nugget is only 5 minute video length. So doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani is my Hindi one. Tellanvanni Palu Kavu, Nallanvanni Needlu Kavu is my Telugu one. But I mix English, but I never mix English and Telugu. Sorry, I never mix Hindi and Telugu because I understand they are like
Yeah.
Doodh Ki. Sometimes some people are very good in Telugu, but they may not understand Hindi. But I understand all the three. So I'm actually trying to do
That's one benefit you have.
that's one
Many
benefit.
of us, I have stayed in Hyderabad for 10 years, but no, my Telugu is still very rusty. Though I understand Telugu, I'm not able to
So
speak it well.
that's okay. That's okay because when I do the Telugu nugget, I go real deep into Telugu. So what happens is, see, many a times, we all sometimes say that Harvard this said this, servant leadership. Servant leadership. I mean, just that you mentioned faith. Actually, since childhood, I was actually such a fan, such a like bhakt. if I may use the word, of Hanuman actually. Hanuman, in the sense, because that gave me a lot of strength actually. So
Sure.
I know
Why
Bhakti
not?
is an abused word. Bhakti is an abused word. People like generally use it.
Yeah,
So,
I
so
do
I,
understand.
I'm not somebody who actually tangos with any political affiliations. You understand? I'm such a
No, no,
straight, non-political person. So, but the point is, when because you mentioned faith, it's so important to have whatever that you really believe in, and we have all the wealth in our own backyard and
absolutely,
our epics.
absolutely, absolutely,
Abhi,
absolutely.
sorry, I think you wanted to say something actually, which I probably did not let
No,
you know.
no, not at all. I was just corroborating what you are saying.
Okay, so the vision thing that impacted you twice, but then again you bounced back, right?
Yes, in fact, first time was I think 2013, and then now in 2019. 19, of course, I went through 3 surgeries in my right eye only to get the eyesight back. Eyesight is still not 100%. It will never be 100%. Uh, and I have to live with it. That's fine. So my right hand doesn't work. My right eye doesn't work. So that's okay. But that's nothing to feel bad about. I think God has been very, very kind. And I think even in this difficult times, I am learning and I'm getting opportunities to learn and explore more opportunities. So what else you want in life?
I think your whole brain works. That's the gift you have. Your whole brain works. Many times people, I'm a left brain, I'm a right brain, all that. People say. I say,
As long as the brain works, it doesn't matter. I know nowadays there is talk about the midbrain also, but then as long as it works and as long as you can absorb and keep learning, I think you're good to go anywhere.
great. Abhijit, we have just done very well in this sense, 30 minutes, I think, but then we have done pretty good. I see that at least there are 5 people ongoingly, at least, who are watching this. But one of the advantages of FB Live is that once it gets archived, and I'll be putting this into YouTube as well. So
Sure.
people
That's
can.
not the that's not the point, Jagan. That will also happen. The point is that did we enjoy talking to each other this half an hour? And I think I enjoyed it very, very much. And I
Same
think
here.
that's the most important thing for both of us to happen.
Same here, Abhijit. I am intending to, I'm talking to diverse people who can actually complement and bring in different points of view. And I'm also taking liberty in trying to get some of them share their personal COVID moments, because right now these are the kind of stuff people need to hear actually. If you
Yes.
whatever we are going through right now. I mean, everyone, still in a partial, semi-partial lockdown kind of a situation. And, is this a good alternative to Netflix? Maybe, yes, at least for this.
Yeah, sure.
So that's the little attempt, Abhijit.
Fine, Jagan. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, any parting words, Abhijit? Because, yeah, so some to
Simple,
go, something to
simple,
go.
very, very simple thing for everybody here. Life is a roller coaster. It'll
Mhm.
go up, it'll come down. Enjoy the ride.
Wow, I think that's said very very simply but very effectively from someone who has seen it, the real roller coaster. Uh, I my sincere gratitude, Abhijit, once again. Thanks for doing this from Bangalore. Although I'm in Hyderabad, so it's so. This next 3 webinars I'm actually trying to do. Sorry, not webinar again. FB lives. One I'm trying to do with Chennai. One I'm trying to do with the person from Bhubaneswar. He's actually a civil servant. That person actually was managing COVID crisis as a health secretary during last few months. Actually, now he has got bumped into energy secretary, but he's my college alumni. So I am actually
Yeah, I know. He was 1 year senior to you. I've read that in your.
correct. So I'm trying to get very diverse, accomplished people in their own right,
Sure, sure.
yet talk about there's more to it. I don't want to reveal actually what he dealt with and he actually handled this
I'm
particular.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure. So, all the best to you for your FB live sessions and all the best. And we are looking forward to your next book, Jagan.
Yeah, next book is actually Unlearning and Relearning during COVID times. Although the title I'm contemplating is Form versus Formula. My whole idea is that there's no one formula that fits all. One got
That's
to
right.
figure out forms actually. Yeah,
Correct. Absolutely.
we're doing this these lives. Thank you once
Right.
again.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Jagan. All the best.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Goodbye.